You leave the room, and something shadows you out the door. It isn't a memory. It isn't a thought. It is a heavy, suffocating mass. Your closest confidant just confessed their marriage is collapsing, and now, hours later, you are the one suffocating. Your brother phoned to vent about his dead-end corporate job. By the time you hung up, his rage had somehow colonized your own chest. You sat across from a drowning colleague, said all the right things, did nothing wrong, yet walked away feeling like you were the one who just took a heavy blow. In modern America, we have a flattering corporate buzzword for this: empathy. Your social circle has validated it your entire life. You are the sensitive one, the designated emotional therapist, the person people call only when their world goes dark. You wear it like a badge of honor. But let me give you the raw Machiavellian truth that Niccolo Machiavelli himself would whisper in your ear. You are not being a saint. You are being exploited, and your emotional borders are being invaded. Consider your daily routine. You scroll through social media and absorb the algorithmic outrage. You walk into the office and instantly pick up on your manager's passive-aggressive anxiety. You come home and spend your evening acting as a psychological sponge for a roommate or partner. By 9:00 p.m., you are completely drained, staring at the ceiling, wondering why you feel like you just ran a marathon when you spent the day sitting at a desk. There is a massive strategic difference between observing a crisis and being completely destroyed by it. If you were never taught where your domain ends and another person's territory begins, you have spent your life confusing a psychological vulnerability for virtue. Your exhaustion isn't a badge of honor, it is a critical flaw in your defenses. It is a systematic breach of your personal sovereignty. And Niccolo Machiavelli would warn you that a state with porous borders is destined for annexation. When you absorb everyone else's chaos, you are essentially letting them rent free space in your mind, completely unvetted. You are leaving the vault of your own peace wide open for anyone to dump their emotional toxic waste inside. The primitive trap of fusion. We are taught in the West that the more you bleed for others, the more evolved you are. We are told that letting someone else's agony wreck your own body is the ultimate proof of a good heart. Niccolo Machiavelli would call this absolute delusion. This isn't high-level human connection, it is a primitive lapse in psychological defense. Long before modern therapy, early humans lived in a state of total emotional blur, a psychological fusion where the individual couldn't tell where their own mind ended and the tribe began. An infant does this naturally. It cannot separate its own existence from its mother. A child absorbs the toxic anxiety of a household like a sponge. But the entire blueprint of psychological maturity is to build a fortress around your own mind to become an independent entity who can look at an ally's struggle without letting their fire burn your house down. Think about how this plays out in your text messages. A friend sends you a massive wall of text detailing their latest dramatic crisis. Your stomach immediately drops. Your heart rate spikes. Before you even type a single word in response, your body has gone into a full fight-or-flight reaction. You haven't chosen to engage. You have been involuntarily drafted into their war. When you fail to build that fortress, your internal radar registers nearby suffering not as an external event to handle, but as an immediate domestic emergency. The emotional baggage of a friend bypasses your security system and lands directly in your vault. You didn't evaluate it. You didn't consent to it. You were simply occupied. Niccolo Machiavelli observed that emotional contagion is a real operational hazard. The unmanaged baggage of a weak leader or a chaotic peer will attach itself to anyone whose boundaries offer zero resistance. You aren't being dramatic. You are being psychologically hijacked. Your nervous system is treating someone else's battle as its own front line. The ultimate trap is that this self-sabotage feels noble. It feels like love. But any alliance that requires your total erasure isn't an alliance, it's a hostile takeover. It is a terrible bargain where you exchange your actual power for temporary social validation. The origin of the shield, this systemic vulnerability, didn't happen by accident. It was a calculated survival strategy you learned when you were far too young to know any better. Many people assume that absorbing pain is just genetic wiring, but Niccolo Machiavelli understood that human behavior is shaped by the harsh laws of necessity. This emotional porousness is an adaptation to an unstable environment. You developed this radar because, at one point in your life, mapping the unpredictable moods of the people around you was the only way to stay safe. A prince must know how to navigate the shifting winds of fortune and the volatile moods of those who hold power over him. Niccolo Machiavelli think about growing up in a home where an adult's emotional instability dictated the safety of the entire house. You learned to decode the heavy cadence of footsteps on the stairs. You mastered the art of reading the cold silence that happens right before an explosion. You became an expert at predicting whether a door slam meant dinner would be peaceful or a total war zone. In that high-stakes environment, tracking the emotional shifts wasn't a choice. It was a countermeasure. The child who could predict a parent's outburst had a distinct strategic advantage. The tragedy is that your nervous system never retired that wartime strategy. What kept you alive at 7 years old is bankrupting you at 30. Your internal surveillance system is still running around the clock in your adult relationships, your friendships, and your career, treating every single emotional spill in your vicinity as a direct threat that you are required to clean up. You see this every day at work. A coworker walks into the break room radiating pure irritation. Instead of ignoring it and focusing on your lunch, your radar instantly locks onto them. You start calculating how to smooth things over, how to be extra polite, or how to fix their mood just so you can feel safe in the room again. You rebranded fear and called it care. The surveillance mechanism you built to navigate danger morphed into your default way of relating to the world, and somewhere along the line you convinced yourself it was a spiritual gift. The mechanics of psychic contagion lets dismantle the biggest lie in the self-help industry. The idea that you are consciously choosing to carry these burdens out of pure compassion. Niccolo Machiavelli would laugh at this framing. You cannot make a strategic choice about an invasion you don't even see happening. The reality is much colder. Unresolved grief, repressed rage, and deep-seated panic cannot remain quietly contained within the weak people who carry them. They emit immense psychological pressure outward. And when that pressure hits a target with zero boundaries, it transfers instantly. This is a literal psychological infection. It doesn't ask for permission, and it doesn't care about your consent. It moves exactly like a virus through an unprotected populace. If you grew up conditioning yourself to placate others, your door is permanently unlocked. The transfer happens seamlessly. Someone else's stress triggers your cortisol. Your chest tightens. Your mind starts racing to fix a problem that isn't even yours. How many times have you hopped on a quick phone call with a friend who just wanted to complain about their dating life? You listen for 45 minutes, nodding along, absorbing every ounce of their frustration. When the call ends, they say, "Wow, I feel so much better. Thanks for talking." They hang up and go enjoy their evening. Meanwhile, you feel completely paralyzed, stuck on the couch, carrying a heavy blanket of dread that didn't even originate in your own life. This is why telling yourself to just stop taking things personally never works. Your mind is trying to argue logically against a hostile takeover that your body has already surrendered to. And here is the ultimate punchline. The person who dumped their toxic waste into your system walks away feeling light, relieved, and vindicated. Meanwhile, you are left holding the radioactive material, paying a brutal physical and mental price for a story that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Niccolo Machiavelli would call this the worst kind of statecraft, drowning alongside your ally and calling it a rescue mission. The caretaker persona, a mask for survival to break this cycle. We have to look plainly at something most people will fiercely deny. You have built your entire identity around being the emotional garbage disposal for others. Niccolo Machiavelli's most famous insights revolve around the masks a ruler must wear to maintain power and stability. We all construct these masks or personas to secure affection, approval, and safety from our social environment. We lean into the version of ourselves that get us rewarded until we mistake the mask for our actual face. For those who grew up in volatile environments, the mask that guaranteed survival was the self-effacing caretaker. You became the useful asset who absorbed the tension in the room and neutralized it before it could hurt you. You were praised for being mature beyond your years. You were trusted with burdens that should never have been placed on a child's shoulders. And through that praise, you accepted a dangerous premise: my only value lies in my capacity to carry other people's pain. This mask isn't a temporary role anymore. It has become your identity. The line between what you do and who you are has completely dissolved. In your everyday life, this looks like the inability to say the word no. Someone asks you for a massive favor that you completely lack the time or energy to complete. Instead of setting a clear, clean boundary, your caretaker mask takes over. You say yes, smile through your teeth, and then spend the next week harboring deep, quiet resentment while destroying your own schedule to accommodate them. But Niccolo Machiavelli would remind you that a mask is merely a compromise between you and the collective demands of your environment. It is a tool of convenience, not your true self. When you spend your life playing a role you never actually chose, the cost is staggering. You lose the ability to know what you actually feel when nobody else is demanding something from you. Silence feels terrifying because when there is no external crisis to manage, you have no signal to read, no pain to absorb, and no idea who you are without a fire to put out. Your relationships become purely transactional. People view you as steady and unshakable only because you have turned yourself into a utility. You have confused self-erasure with love, power and presence versus total dissolution. The final barrier to your freedom is the terrifying belief that if you stop carrying everyone else's weights, you will become a cold, unfeeling monster. This is a massive strategic error. True empathy and emotional fusion are completely opposing forces. True empathy is a position of strength. It is the calculated ability to accurately read and understand the emotional reality of another person without ever leaving your own psychological headquarters. You observe, you comprehend, but your borders hold. You can be fully present for a crisis because your own foundation isn't shaking. Fusion is a position of profound weakness. It is the complete collapse of your perimeter. The moment someone else suffers, you lose your autonomy and sink into the quicksand with them. You aren't helping them, you have simply doubled the amount of casualties in the room. When you fuse with a broken ally, they don't get your strength, they get your collapse. Imagine you are a lifeguard. If someone is drowning and you jump into the water without a flotation device, letting them grab onto your neck and drag you under, you haven't saved anyone. You have just guaranteed that 2 people drown instead of 1. True empathy is staying firmly on the dry land of your own identity, throwing them a lifeline and pulling them up using your leverage. A truly powerful individual offers something far more valuable: a rock-solid, unshakable presence. A witness who can hear the worst horrors without absorbing the poison or needing to be coddled in return. That isn't coldness. It is the highest form of authority and support. To achieve this, you must ruthlessly track your internal assets. When you feel that familiar, addictive pull to step into someone else's emotional storm, you must pause. Ask yourself the ultimate diagnostic question. What was my internal state before this person started speaking? What belongs to my kingdom, and what is an invading force? Claiming your personal sovereignty here is the hard truth that Niccolo Machiavelli would leave you with. You have not been too good, too pure, or too sensitive. You have been insufficient to yourself. The cost of your weak borders has been paid by your own health, and it has been paid by the people around you who received your collapse instead of your strength. Disappearing into the problems of others was a brilliant survival tactic when you were a powerless child. It kept the peace. It kept you alive. But you are no longer trapped in that childhood room. The strategy that once protected you is now actively destroying your autonomy. Think about how this shifts your daily interactions. The next time a peer comes to you ready to dump their unfiltered chaos onto your shoulders, you don't have to absorb it. You can listen, offer a grounded perspective, and then leave that conversation at the coffee shop door. You don't take it home in your car. You don't bring it to your dinner table. You don't let it ruin your sleep. You cannot govern an empire if you have completely abandoned your own capital city. Self-erasure dressed up as moral superiority is still just self-erasure, and it will always run out of currency. True authority is the capacity to sit with someone in their darkest hour while remaining stubbornly, quietly, and entirely yourself. To witness the chaos without letting it conquer you. Stop measuring your capacity for loyalty by how much of your own territory you are willing to surrender. That is a loser's script, handed to you by an environment that required you to be compliant and convenient. You are allowed to stand your ground. You are allowed to care without vanishing. You are allowed to let someone else fall apart beside you without choosing to break your own bones to match their posture. That is not a failure of heart. That is the first rule of absolute personal power.